way. His laws I keep beside me. It's sweetness to my soul. You hate them, your heads are roll. In the midst of the wilderness, just going this day will cease to prosper. To them, y'all truthers like a lion to a lion prophet. My last saga's like a Tyson mixed with customada. Knock out Christ Muhammad and give my holy Yah his honor. My Abba Father, Yah, my college and my alma mater. To keep his praise going, I cannot go down in silence. So follow after men, so they don't want war. Praise the mighty Yah, he give you something to boast for. Praise Yah. Righteousness have to be earned. A curse will come up on you if his words you won't confirm. Praise Yah. Created day and the night, don't go to left or the right. Call Yah's Sabbath for the light. Praise Yah. With all your voices you must sing that Yah's our Elohim. Next to him there is no kings. Praise Yah. The mighty Yah has no flaws, and all of my companions, those who fear and keep his laws. Praise Yah. I love Yah because he heard my voice and supplications, inclined his ear into me and severed us from other nations. Walked in the midst of death, wicked what the chances given. That's why I praise the mighty Yah as long as I'm living. My ways of Yah, I will show that all my works were worthless. Walked in the statues of my Yah, cause all his ways are perfect. Adored, sweet as honey, so you have to love it. Not bread alone, by every word. That's how we govern. 7 covenants you bless if you know to name them. Circumcision comes up first, is what he gave to Abram. Second, YIshiYAH fell into some bad habits. That's what you are if you forsake the almighty Sabbath. Don't take for granted that it's written in the 10 Commandments. You must love it to be inside his new covenant. No expiration of the kingdom of his servant David. Yah words is forever hollow, covenant day and night. Follow Yah. Righteousness have to be earned. A curse will come up on you if his words you won't confirm. Praise Yah. Created day and the night, don't go to left or the right. Call Yah's Sabbath for the light. Praise Yah. With all your voices you must sing that Yah's our Elohim. Next to him there is no kings. Praise Yah. The mighty Yah has no flaws, and all of my companions, those who fear and keep his laws. Praise Yah. Not praise Yah. Not praise Yah. Not praise Yah. Not praise Yah, not praise Yah, not praise Yah, not praise Yah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is there and is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH YIsraEL of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth. For Yah ordained me to tell you the truth, and this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yisrael, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king. He's our judge, he's our lawgiver, and Yah is our only Savior. And not just of Israel. Yah is the Savior of the world. And I thank Yah and praise the mighty Yah for another glorious day to bring to you his great, holy, and exalted words. Today, we're going to discuss choices. And why choices? Little do people know Everything that we do, whether it be good or whether it be evil, and we talked about this yesterday, will be brought into judgment. Everything, all our works that's done under the sun. And we choose the various things that we feel we must do. You're not made to do anything. Many of the things you do, you might do it through wisdom. But the mass majority of the things that you do it through lack of knowledge. And this is what the Creator told us in the book of Hosea. And we turn there, that's where we're going to start. In the book of Hosea. The 6th chapter. Well, let's make that the 4th chapter. Hosea, the 4th chapter. The 6th verse. And this is what it says. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me. Seeing you have forgotten the law of your Elohim, I will also forget your children, as they were increased. So they sin against me, therefore will I change their glory into shame. And this is very understandable. And why do our people lack so much knowledge? Why, as our people increase, their sin increase? Why is the great glory of our former fathers turned into shame? And the Creator made it plain and simple, very crystal clear. We have forgotten the law of our Elohim. Watch what it says in the 8th verse. They eat up the sin of my people. In other words, your protection against your enemies is your ability to do the law. But when you're not protected, you are exposed. And our people are greatly exposed. Therefore, they eat up the sin of my people, and they set their heart on their iniquity. And our people don't realize that through the various choices that we make every day, even though it's through lack of knowledge, even though it brings destruction, as a people, we're still not wise enough to say, let us seek Yah. We still refuse to turn to the laws of the Most High. And I understand why. Because every man and every woman is their own Elohim. In other words, they think they know what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil, what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And they refuse to humble themselves. And there's only one way to humble yourself. let me show you why many of the choices that we make as a community is only bringing destruction, not just to us as individuals, but to our families, to our congregations, to our communities, and to the nation that we say we hold dear. Look what the law says concerning our choices. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, we're going to go there. Deuteronomy 30. And we're talking about choices. You would think people know how to make good choices. But undoubtedly, this is not the case. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, the very first verse says, "And it shall come to pass that when all these things have come upon you," and what's coming upon us, "the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations where Yahweh, your Elohim, has driven you, and shall return unto Yahweh your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart, with all your soul, that then Yahweh your Elohim will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you." This is what Yahweh said he would do if the blessing and the curse that he said before us come to mind. And then we begin to realize the blessing from the curse. And as we begin to realize this thing, we return unto Yahweh. Not just us. We return unto Yahweh to obey his voice, but also our children with all our heart and with all our soul. We will see a great blessing in our community, even in captivity, because Yahweh will begin to turn it. Watch the 4th verse. "If any of yours are driven out to the outermost parts of heaven," and we are, "from there will Yahweh your Elohim gather you. From there will he fetch you. And Yahweh your Elohim will bring you into a land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. And Yahweh your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. And Yahweh your Elohim will put all these curses upon your enemies and on them that hate you, which persecuted you." And our people being persecuted today. Our people are being hated on today. "And you shall return and obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments which I command you this day." And ask yourself, have Yahweh showed our people compassion? Are we being devoured with the blessings of Yahweh? Or are we being devoured with the curse? And if all we got to do is choose the blessing, ask yourself, wise ones, the ones who are supposed to have the wisdom, the ones who are supposed to know what's best, the ones they think they know right from wrong, then why aren't we choosing the blessings of Yahweh? Since you got all the answers. There's a lot of people out there that's talking and they think they got all the answers. And they know the word of Yahweh. Because Yahweh has chosen them to speak his word, to tell his truth, to show, thus is Yah. Watch what the Creator says. I want you to see this. 10th verse. We're going to start there. Same chapter. If you shall listen to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if you turn unto Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, for this commandment which I command you this day, it is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that thou shalt say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. Who? Nobody got to go to heaven. Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. Nobody got to go to Jerusalem and go back to Israel and dig it up or dig it out of the pyramids or find the Dead Sea Scrolls. That don't have to be done to know the truth, to know the word of Yahweh. But watch what Yahweh says. But the word is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. And why is it in your mouth? Why is it in your heart? It's in your mouth and your heart because Yahweh, it didn't put his word in the sea. He didn't put his word in the ground. He didn't put his word in heaven where you got to go to it. He put his word in the mouth of his prophets, the mouth of his messengers, that you might hear it and that you might do it, and that it might be in your heart. But our people, everyone might as well be a prophet, because you can't tell nobody the word of Yahweh, because everybody think they know the word of Yahweh. They think Yahweh's word is sent to everybody. Therefore, all you have to do is debate your cause with your neighbor himself. Is that how Yahweh works? Is that the confusion you think Yahweh has put in our midst? That he has sent his word to everyone? And that you know best? And they know best? But y'all still fighting with one another? Watch what it says. 15th verse. See, I set before you this day life and good, death and evil. In that I command you this day to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply. And Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in the land whether you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear And why do you got to hear it? Because Yahweh put this word in somebody's mouth, but will be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them. I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land where you pass over Jordan to go to possess it. In this 19th verse, this is the verse that this is all about. Because we're talking about choices. And look what Yahweh says. I'll call heaven and earth to record this day against you. So when that day come, and that day is coming, that day is very nigh unto us. And you won't have the excuses that you have today. Because heaven and earth is the record against you. And what is the record against you? Watch what it says. That I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live. And here today, you making choices. But many of the choices that you are making, because you lack so much knowledge, you think you choosing life, but you're choosing death. You think you choosing blessing, but all you're doing is choosing the curse. You only can choose one or the other. Only one can be established. Watch what it says. 20th verse, that you may love Yahweh your Elohim, that you may obey his voice, that you may cling unto him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in a land which Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to give them. Why can't we choose the blessing? And what's so hard about choosing the blessing? Why is that so difficult? We don't know the difference between a blessing and a curse. We don't know the difference between life and death. Undoubtedly, we don't. If it was that easy, then why aren't we blessed? And why do we seem to be dying our communities, our households, our congregations, our families, even as a nation? All we see before us is death rather than life. And why? Where do the mistakes lie? Where is the lack of knowledge at, that we don't even know the difference between a blessing and a curse? And the very first thing we got to know is that everything we're doing, and I mean everything, all our works, is all about choices. And I'm here to tell you, our people, the mass majority of our people, even those who say they know who they are or choosing death rather than life, choosing cursing rather than blessing. And the unfortunate part, they don't even realize it. Even though all the bad stuff is happening, they still don't realize all they have done is chosen the curse. Watch what it says in the book of Joshua 24. Watch what the Creator let our people know. This is what our people, why they lack so much knowledge. In the book of Joshua, the 24th chapter, and this is what he was letting the people know. This is what Yahweh let them know through his servant Joshua. As many of you should know, Yahweh, our people was so scared of Yahweh, didn't fear Yahweh, was scared of Yahweh that they didn't even want to hear from Yahweh. So Yahweh said, since we're talking about choices, I will choose the one that I will raise up unto you and put my words in his mouth. And we're going to read that. But the people, even though that's what they asked for, even though we are descendants of the people who asked for that, we still reject that. And we think Yahweh has put the word in every man, in every woman's mouth where they can make their own decisions. Well, you can make your own decisions. You're making them every day. And most of them are evil. Watch this. Joshua 24, 13th verse, or the 12th verse. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you, even the 2 kings of the Amorites, but not with your sword, nor with your bow. In other words, if you listen to most of the Israelite ministers, they would tell you that our people took the land and fought for the land and drove the inhabitants out. No, when Yahweh left it up to our people to drive the inhabitants of the Amorites and the Girgashites and the Perizzites and the Hittites and the Canaanites, when Yahweh left it up to them to drive them out, they would not. They could not. But Yahweh sent the hornet among them and drove them out. Many of the nations that we know of. But they would not give that credit to Yahweh. They would say, we did it. 13th verse, and I have given you a land for which you did not labor, cities which you did not build, and you dwelled in them, and other vineyards and the olive groves which you planted not, do you eat? In other words, Yahweh has laid the table, furnished it, but yet that still didn't cause us to fear Yahweh. 14th verse. Now, therefore, fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the idols which your fathers served on the other side of the river and in Egypt, and serve you Yahweh. That's all you got to do. 15th verse. And if it seems evil to you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the idols which your father served that were on the other side of the river, or the idols of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. That's what Joshua said. Because he knew the people were all talk. See, to serve Yahweh, you have to know the ways of Yahweh. You got to know how Yahweh works. You got to know Yahweh's order and establishment of his house, of your community. And how you are to live. And many of our people believe the ways of Yahweh is evil. Of course they're not going to tell you Yahweh ways is evil. But all you got to do is talk to them. Just talk to them a little bit, and you're going to find that's what they really believe. And Yahweh know that. Yahweh know that they're choosing evil rather than good. They choosing a curse rather than a blessing. We have choices, and you're making them every day. And your choices have plagued your family, have plagued your community, have plagued your congregations, and it's plaguing this nation. Now, everybody ain't plagued. There's some people that are blessed. In the book of Psalm 25, watch what it says. Let me show you someone that you can take to the bank. They have chosen Yahweh's blessing. And watch what it says. The 8th verse. Good and upright is Yahweh. Therefore will he teach sinners in the way. And how can he teach sinners in the way? Let me show you what a sinner has to be. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. The vast majority of our people are far from meek. They are haughty and prideful and think they know better than Yahweh. Watch what it says. All the paths of Yahweh are mercy and truth to such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. For your name's sake, O Yahweh, pardon my iniquity, for it is great. And watch this 12th verse. What man is he that fears Yahweh? Question mark. That's all you got to do is ask yourself, what man is he that fears Yahweh? And this is how you're going to know that man. Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose. In other words, that's how I can tell whether a man fears Yahweh, because Yahweh will teach this man in a certain way. And what is that way? In the way of Yahweh. In the way that Yahweh himself choose. That's what Yahweh will do. But let me tell you, our people, are they being taught in the way that Yahweh has chose? Are they demonstrating that they fear Yahweh? Or have they chosen another way other than Yahweh? Watch what it says in the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. how much calamity, how much bad, how much destruction, how much adversity do you have to go through before you come to the conclusion that it's your choices? It's your choices. It's the things that you're choosing. Did not Yahweh say choose life or death, blessing or cursing? But you're not even considering that it's your choices that has brought this adversity. In the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, watch what it says. The 31st verse. Envy you not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. And here it is. We've been brought up in captivity. And if one thing that we should know very well are the ways of the oppressor. And constantly and consistently, we are choosing the ways of the oppressor. We want to look like them. We want to live like them. Our dreams and aspirations is like them. Ask an Israelite what they want to be. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a nurse. I want to be this. I want to be that. How many would tell you they want to be like our foreparents? They want to return back unto the way it was. In our community, we lived in a society where it was a society where we were farmers. We worked with the land. We had gardens. We had livestock. I know you don't want to do that. You want to be like the oppressor. You want cars like him. You want professions like him. You want a house like him with a white picket fence. And you want a family like him. Just you and your husband and your children. Because that's what he taught you. That's what he taught your dream and aspirations should be. You're not dreaming like your fathers. And I'm going to show you how your fathers dream. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. And then we wonder why we are so cursed. We wonder why we are so oppressed. We wonder why we find ourselves in the shadow of death. It's our choices. It's our choices. You don't see women against women, brothers against brothers, husband against the wives in our community. You don't see this despair. That's not because of good choices. That's because of evil choices that we as a community have made. These are not the blessings of Yahweh. And when someone come to you with the blessings of Yahweh, you can't even see it. You can't even recognize it. You can't even identify it. And let me show you why in the book of Jeremiah. Choices. That's what we're talking about. You're in the condition that you're in because you made the choice. to be in that condition. You made the choice to have that situation. Watch what it says. In the book of Jeremiah, the 17th chapter, the 5th verse. Thus says Yahweh, curse be the man that trusts in man. And you might ask yourself, what man we trusting in? Our oppressors, our enemies, the ways of other people. Why you think Yahweh said we're not to follow the people that was near and far when we took over the land? Why do you think the Almighty told us to destroy everything? Why do you think the Almighty told us don't even give them your sons and daughters? And don't take their sons and daughters? Because he knew what the ways of the people would do. It would turn your heart from him. Cursed be the man that trusts in man, and make flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from Yahweh. And look, the people's heart is departing from Yahweh every day because they think they know the blessing, but it's just a curse. They think they know life, but all it is death. For he shall be like the destitute in a desert, the heath in a desert, and shall not see when good cometh. And that's a bad state of being. That good is coming your way, and you can't even recognize it. You can't even identify it. You won't even see it. But it's right there. It's right in front of your face. It's something good, but you think it's bad. And the bad that's coming your way, you think it's good, but it's bad. You shall be like a heath in a desert, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahweh, and whose hope Yahweh is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreads out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaves shall be green, and shall not be afraid in a year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding. See, that's when you blessed, because you made Yahweh your trust. Choices. It's all about your choice. All the various calamities, all the various adversities, all the various things that you go through in your life, you just made choices. And many of these choices have been evil, death, and not blessing, not life, but yet curses. Watch what the Creator says concerning our choices in the book of Proverbs, the very first chapter. In the book of Proverbs, the first chapter, love these. Watch this. And I read this yesterday. 20th verse, Proverbs 1 and 20. Wisdom cries outside. And that's what I say about wisdom. Wisdom comes to anyone who seeks her. And everybody ain't seeking her. She utters her voice in the streets. She cries in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city, she utters her words, saying, how long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and the fools hate knowledge. I mean, how long we got to see this despair? Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I've called, and you refused. I've stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But you have said at naught on my counsel, and will have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. And your fear is coming. It's going to happen. It's going down. And when your fear comes as desolation, and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. In other words, you had to answer, buddy. You thought you knew better. You thought you was choosing the right things. They shall seek me earnestly, but they shall not find me. And why, Yahweh? For they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. And why? Because this is all about choices. That's what it's about. And I tell people all the time, they think they know things that they don't know. They think they understand things that they think they understand, but they really don't. Because if you knew, if you understand, then you will know the blessings of Yahweh. A blessing of Yahweh is in knowing the difference between a blessing and a curse is like knowing the difference between day and night. And as you can see, many of our people don't know the difference between day and night. They will clearly tell you a day starts at night. So now can you see how people won't understand a blessing from a curse? Choices. And look what Yahweh said. Since we don't know how to choose, and since we choose the wrong things, Yahweh said, well, he going to help us. And this is how he will help us. In the book of Psalm 65. This is how Yahweh planned on helping us with our choices. And watch what it says. Starting at the very first verse. Praise waits for you, O Elohim in Zion, and unto you shall the vow be performed. O you that hear prayer, unto you shall all flesh come. Iniquities prevail against me. And as for our transgressions, you shall purge them away. And watch this fourth verse. Blessed is the man whom you choose. See, we think we choose ourselves. Blessed is the man whom you choose and cause to approach unto you. Now, who is that? Who is this man that Yahweh chose? And who is this man that actually can approach unto Yahweh, that he may dwell in your courts? We shall be satisfied with the goodness of your house, even of your holy temple. By fearful things and righteousness will you answer us, O Elohim of our salvation, who are the confidence of all the ends of the earth and of them that are far off upon the sea. It is Yahweh. And watch what Yahweh says. In Isaiah 66. And make that Isaiah 65 first. The 8th verse. Isaiah 65 and 8. Thus says Yahweh. I want y'all to hear this real clearly now. As the new wine is found in a cluster, and one says, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servants' sake, that I may not destroy them all. In other words, the only reason this place ain't gone right now, because Yahweh see a blessing in it. And I will bring forth a seed out of Yaakov, and out of Yehudah, an inheritor of my mountains. And my elect shall inherit it, and my servant shall dwell there. Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, the valley of Achor a place for the herds to lie down in. For my people that have sought me, those are people who seek the Most High. But you are they that forsake Yahweh, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for fortune, and that furnish the drink offerings unto the deity of fate. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, you did not answer. When I spoke, you did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. And how do we know what Yahweh has chosen? How do we know what Yahweh has said? How do we know, thus says Yahweh? We don't even want to know. We don't even want to hear that. Even though our fathers respectfully and honorably said, we do not want to hear the voice of Yahweh. But let our people tell it today. Everyone knows the word of Yahweh. And if that is true, then why aren't we choosing the blessing rather than the curse? Even in the book of Isaiah 66, watch what it says. Show you how Yahweh see things. First verse, thus is Yahweh. The heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you build unto me? Where is the place of my rest? For all those things has my hand made, and all those things have been, says Yahweh. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembles at my word. And people don't tremble at the word of Yahweh. They look at the word of Yahweh. That's just words. That's how you see it. That's your understanding. People disagree with you. I disagree with you. You're not trembling at the word of Yahweh. Watch what he says. Third verse. He that kills an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb as if he cuts off a dog's neck. He that offers an oblation as if he offers swine's blood. He that burns incense as if he blessed an idol. And what's the bottom line to this? What do all this mean? Well, this is what it means. Yes, they have chosen their own ways. That's all you're doing. Every decision you make, every choice you make, everything you think you're right on, you're not right at all. All you're doing is choosing your own ways. And their soul delights in their abominations. But watch what Yahweh says. I also will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. Once again, because when I called, none did answer. When I spoke, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. Hear the word of Yah. You that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. People were not trembling at the word of Yahweh. Don't think. Don't be confused. Don't be delusioned to think that Yahweh still don't have the same plan of salvation that he had in the beginning. Yahweh have his servants that he has raised up to bring his word to you so that you might do it. Don't think you're somebody you're not. Don't act like you know things you don't know. Tremble at the word of Yahweh. Understand your maker. This is all about choices. And all you got to do is ask yourself, the choices that you have made, how is that good? How's it good for your husband? How's it good for your wife? How's it good for your family? How's it good for your community? How is it good for your congregation? How is it good for our nation? Choices. This is what have plagued us. In the book of Isaiah 56, show you how much Yahweh loves good choices. It says in Isaiah 56:1, thus says Yahweh, keep you judgment and do justice. For my salvation is near to come. And here it is. We keep telling people about the salvation of Yahweh, but they not hearing us. And my righteousness to be revealed. And we're revealing all kind of things all the time. But are the people hearing it? We're revealing something today that a lot of people never even considered. That the evil that is plaguing them today, they chose. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that lays hold on it, that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yahweh speak, saying, Yahweh has utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. Watch this 4th verse. For thus says Yahweh unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them will I give in my house, and within my walls a place and a name better than the sons and other daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. See what happens when you make good choices? One more scripture I want you to see. And it's in the book of 1 Samuel 16. And we're talking about choices. And why are we talking about choices? Because I want people to see that the evil that plagued them today, they chose it. The Almighty told us to choose blessing or cursing, good or evil. And the mass majority of our people choosing evil. Now, many of it is done because of lack of knowledge. But they only lack knowledge because they refuse to hear and tremble at the word of Yahweh. In the book of 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, the 2nd verse. And Samuel said, how can I go if Saul hears? it. He will kill. Sorry, I have to start at the first verse so you can understand this. And Yahweh said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I've rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your home with oil and go, and I will send you to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul's here, he will kill me. And Yahweh said, take a heifer with you, and say, I've come to sacrifice to Yahweh. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you shall do. And you shall anoint to me him whom I name to you. And Samuel did that which Yahweh spoke, came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, come you peacefully. And he said, peaceably, I have come to sacrifice unto Yahweh. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And watch what it says. And it came to pass when they had come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely Yahweh's anointed is before him. And watch this 7th verse. But Yahweh said to Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I've refused him. For Yahweh sees not as man sees. For man looks on the outward appearance, but Yahweh looks on the heart. And this is what people really, they just don't understand. They don't even know how Yahweh see things. 8th verse. And Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither has Yahweh chosen this. In the 9th verse, then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither has Yahweh chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said to Jesse, Yahweh has not chosen none of these men. And Samuel said to Jesse, are here all your children? And he said, there remains yet the youngest. And behold, he keeps the sheep. And Samuel said to Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come here. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and with a beautiful countenance, pleasant to look to. And Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. And what is this story teaching us? Only if we knew how Yahweh choose. Only if we knew how we must choose. Because we're making choices every single day. Every day. Because Yahweh, according to his laws, set before us life and death, blessing and cursing. But according to his law, he told us to choose life that we may live. And who knows about this life that we supposed to choose? Is it you? Is it them? Or is it the one whom Yahweh himself has chosen. But again, it's your choice. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Praise Yah, 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 YISraEL, 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 praise Yah, praise Yah, praise Yah, praise Yah, now praise Yah, 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 yeah. Praise Yah, praise Yah. Righteousness have to be earned. A curse will come up on you with his words you won't confirm. Praise Yah, praise Yah. Created day and the night, don't go to left or the right. Call Yah Sabbath for the light. Praise Yah, praise Yah. With all your voices you must sing. The Yah's are Elohim. Next to him there is no kings. Praise Yah, praise Yah. The mighty Yah has no flaws. And all of my companions, those who fear and keep his laws. Praise Yah, praise the Most High Yah, who saved the soul of this dead man. Show me who I am, give me the chance to see that good land. No blessings bundle. You fumble, you crumble. A light to the nation among us. Life goes the meek and the humble. Angels seem to surround me just like a cummerbund. No need to boast up with my tongue. Know where my blessings from the Most High Yahweh. His laws I keep beside me. It's sweetness to my soul.